Welcome to The Silent Script, the podcast where we explore the stories that hide in plain sight, the experiences that seem ordinary on the surface but reveal something far more complicated when viewed through a different lens. Today, we're examining the silent script itself, what it stands for, why it exists, and why the stories we never see are often the ones that change us the most.
Have you ever wondered how many life-changing stories you'll never hear simply because the person who lived them never believed they mattered? Every day, people carry experiences that have shaped who they are. Some stories are spoken openly, while others remain hidden behind a smile, a routine, or years of silence. What if those untold stories are exactly what someone else needs to hear?
That's why we created the silent script. We believe everyone is writing a story. Some chapters are celebrated, others are painful, and many are never shared. Those unseen chapters are what we call the silent script. This podcast exists for people who have a story but don't necessarily want to be seen. Not everyone wants to stand in front of a camera or speak before a crowd. Some people simply want a safe platform where their experiences can encourage someone else without becoming the center of attention. Because sometimes the quietest voices carry the greatest wisdom.
This podcast isn't about making anyone look bad, and it isn't about making yourself look good. It's about understanding how our experiences shape us, how our choices influence others, and how healing begins when we're willing to learn from what we've lived through. Everyone has faced something: betrayal, heartbreak, disappointment, trauma, fear, rejection, loss, uncertainty. But those experiences don't have to be the final chapter. Sometimes they become the beginning of purpose.
One thing you'll notice about the silent script is that we don't stop at telling the story. We ask deeper questions. What happened beneath the surface? What experiences may have shaped that person's decisions? What emotional patterns can we recognize? What can we learn? Not to judge, but to better understand ourselves and each other, because understanding creates compassion, and compassion creates room for healing.
Some episodes will feature anonymous stories from people who simply want to be heard. Other episodes will explore the psychology behind our choices, the emotions we carry, and the life lessons hidden in everyday experiences. Our goal isn't to tell you what to think. Our goal is to invite you to think differently.
No matter what your story is, it has value. You don't have to compare your pain to someone else's to know it matters. Healing isn't a competition. Growth isn't measured by who suffered the most. Sometimes one honest story gives another person the courage to keep going. And if that happens, your experience has already made a difference.
There are people listening today who feel invisible. People who believe no one could possibly understand what they're carrying. Then they hear someone else's story and they realize they're not alone. That's the power of shared experience. It reminds us that hope is real, healing is possible, and no one has to walk through life believing they're the only one.
Whether you lead from the front or quietly serve from the background, your impact is no less meaningful. Some people are called to speak. Others are called to write. Some simply choose to share anonymously. Every one of those choices can change a life, because the goal isn't recognition. The goal is transformation.
Before we close, we want to leave you with this. The stories shared on the silent script are meant to educate, encourage reflection, and inspire hope. They aren't shared to judge anyone or assign blame. They're shared because every experience carries a lesson, and every lesson has the potential to help someone else.
If your story helps one person feel understood, if your journey gives someone the courage to keep going, if your experience reminds another person that healing is possible, then your story has already become something bigger than yourself. Thank you for joining us on The Silent Script. Remember, every person has a story. Every story has a lesson. And sometimes the stories we never see leave the greatest impact. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and remember, your silence may have protected you, but your story may help someone else heal. This is The Silent Script, where every story matters, every lesson has purpose, and even the quietest voices can change the world.